Hello, this is Nice Wander, and welcome to the NOWMAN show. I'm here with Matthew Manos, who is the founder and partner of Very Nice. And on the website it says it's a global design strategy and foresight consultancy that gives away half of its work. And he has worked with helped to create over 500 brands for like Fortune 500 companies, even small businesses. And some of these names you might recognize: NASA, UNICEF, MTV Networks, Kaiser Permanente Hospitals, the Human Rights Campaign, Facebook, and Disney Imagineering. Matthew, thank you very much for being on the NOWMAN show.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. Now, to start off with, how did you come up with this idea in the first place?
Yeah, well, so I started my freelance career when I was 16 years old. Around that time, I was a competitive skateboarder, so you could see me training in skate parks left and right, and practicing. I had a lot of focus on bowls, like empty swimming pools, basically.
Oh yeah, like the guys from the West Side, right?
Like Dogtown,
yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a huge influence for me. And I was arriving at these parks all of the time, and you see a lot of interesting stuff when you're going to a skate park, but one thing that I saw that really ended up accidentally kind of changing my life was a man in a wheelchair who was ripping around the park far better than I and anybody else. Literally saw him do a backflip over one of the channels and was obviously intrigued to sort of approach him and learn more.
Wow.
And I learned that he was the founder of a nonprofit that at the time when it existed, it would help children in wheelchairs do that kind of stuff, participate in extreme sports. And I was super inspired, offered to design some stickers, and that's kind of how I started my graphic design career. Yeah.
And you were 16?
I was 16, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are some examples of your work now, before we talk about the model?
Yeah.
What are some examples of what Very Nice has done?
Yeah, definitely. So a really big range of things. It started with kind of like in that park, right? It started with graphic design, a lot of traditional design, what you would think a design studio would do. But since then it's evolved. I would say about half of our work is that more traditional design work. The other half is this kind of unconventional, things like business model design or things like product development, helping entrepreneurs or nonprofits come up with new ideas and bring them out into the world.
So the model itself is for-profit and not-for-profit, right?
Right.
So there's a word that kind of goes along with the nonprofit side,
right,
which people use. It's called pro bono.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with U2 or Sonny and Cher.
No, a lot of people think it does. I am pro bono, though.
Yeah, you're right. I do. Yeah. So tell us, for those people who might not be familiar with that, what that means. What does that pro bono actually mean?
Yeah, so pro bono, it's short for pro bono publico, which literally means for the good of the public.
Cool.
It got its start in the legal industry, and then since then has evolved into all kinds of industries, all kinds of service-based industries. So anywhere where you're selling your time as opposed to a product, especially, marketing, design, and so on. And literally, it means to basically give your work away for free. Typically, though, it hasn't really had a real kind of business model behind it. It's primarily throughout history been sort of an extracurricular activity. Oh, yeah, that organization sounds cool, let's offer them some pro bono work. Whereas we really were the first to kind of put our stake in the ground saying, hey, pro bono can be integral. It doesn't have to be extracurricular. It can actually be a model that you follow. And that's kind of where our work has really contributed in that world.
And you had to go through a process, right, to really understand how to take an idea like that,
right,
and brand it into where it could be at least partly business,
right,
or partly profit.
Right. And so shortly after that day in the skate park, really what my kind of freelance career looked like was volunteering for different student groups, small nonprofits, on and off campus. I was at UCLA at the time. And it eventually kind of evolved into realizing, oh, hey, this is kind of interesting. I'm doing this pro bono work for this person, and they just recently graduated, they got a job, and now they're asking me to do paid work. So it's kind of this hint of, hey, pro bono can be kind of reciprocal.
Yes.
It can lead to referrals. It can lead to education, learning things by doing it. And that was kind of this hint of, like maybe there's something to creating a balance here.
And you found that.
Yeah. Yeah, found that over time, so it started 100% pro bono when I first launched Very Nice, and then kind of slowly started to take on more and more paid work until I landed on 50/50. And what I realized about 50/50 is it did work, right, as a model, but more so kind of what I've always been more interested in is on the philosophical side, realizing that the moment you do more than half of your work on this thing, that becomes not a hobby anymore, but an integral part of your lifestyle and what you do. And I love the idea that giving back could be that lifestyle as opposed to a hobby.
And now in doing that, for those that would be more interested in the business side of it,
right?
Obviously, you know, people are always thinking about keeping their expenses low. So, in the process of making the work volume high, let's say,
right,
you refer to volunteerism.
Right.
What kind of role does that play in all this?
Yeah, so that was one of these. A lot of the things in my life are sort of accidents that happen, and then I just run with it. So,
isn't that great?
Yeah,
don't you just love it?
That's great. Yeah. There's your business advice for today. Just have a lot of accidents. What started to happen is so I started the company in 2008, but it wasn't until 2009 that I put a website up because kind of frankly, I was sort of afraid to. This was a really sort of new kind of idea. It was offensive to a lot of other studios saying,
really?
Hey, you shouldn't be charging for your work. You know, this was very radical at the time.
Because you're a design guy.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah, exactly. And what I found is the moment I did finally get the courage to put that first website up, I had a random person that I had never met before reach out and say, hey, really love the mission. Can I volunteer? Can I help?
Cool.
And it was kind of this light bulb of, oh my God, I don't have to do all this by myself. This can be a communal effort, a community going after this.
Yes.
And that's where the kind of leverage of a volunteer network came to play. And now we have over 400 volunteers all around the world that help us on a per project basis to execute this pro bono work.
And how many continents, how many countries right now would you say?
45 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so all over the place.
That's great.
Yeah.
So your network can take you literally anywhere moving forward.
And what's been amazing about that, and it's all been organic growth. We've never been sort of like on the sidewalk saying like, hey, do you want to volunteer? Hey, it's all been organic people coming to us through finding us on shows like this or through, different kind of media events or speaking or anything like that. And as a result, they've all been very authentic in wanting to help. They weren't forced to help, right? They approached us. They wanted to make this happen. And one of the nice things about having such a diverse community is sometimes we'll have an organization that's based in a country where we obviously aren't, but we have a volunteer on the ground who can give us that kind of cultural context that we need to make sure that we do a good job. That's, something that's actually useful for them.
And it can be anything from building a house to providing food and water and education.
Right. Any kind of cause that might benefit. And our role tends to be more like, so say it is an organization that builds houses or provides education. It's us going in and either going that more traditional route of, okay, well, this is how you can kind of create your messaging to do that, or this is how you can brand yourself to do that, to us being more hands-on saying, hey, this is how you can actually build a house more efficiently or more effectively using kind of this design language to kind of bring that to life.
That's fantastic. And you, of course, we're going to get into you a little bit more here as well. You have a blog on the website, and I found an interesting article that you had written after you first learned of Elon Musk's Hyperloop.
Right.
And for those of you who might not know, that's like that crazy, insane, fast train idea from Los Angeles to like New York in 45 minutes. And of course, you're a guy, we're like-minded. You like innovation. And so you mentioned something in the article about like, sign me up, I want to get involved in this. But then after you really gave it deeper thought, you realize, well, maybe as an innovation, this is not necessarily the most rational kind of thing that I should be prioritizing.
Right.
And there's a quote here: "You don't need to be rich to be innovative. Innovation can come from anyone, regardless of age, gender, race, economic status, or religion." Elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I even forgot about writing that. I think that there's kind of this expectation that, and I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, right? But I think what a lot of his work represents could be sort of limiting to a lot of everyday people. because, you know, a lot of these kind of really big ideas comes from the people that are all the way at the top. And the thing that I immediately learned when I started Very Nice is that you do not have to be wealthy to make an impact. I think that that's a really old view of philanthropy, that you have to be this old, successful, a lot of the times white guy,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to actually create an impact. But what I've realized is that by kind of reframing innovation and impact as being integral as opposed to an afterthought or something that happens after 40, 50 years of work, you can make it happen, you know, and I think that we're sort of proof of that.
That's fantastic. So I really like that blog. It says, and that's a great thing about social media, it says a lot about who you are or who we are when we put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
Now you're an artist, obviously, which is great work here.
Thank you.
And design people hopefully are artists, right? Or if they're not, they ought to get into another profession.
Right, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you've also written a book, and it's called How to Give Over Half of Your Work for Free. So does that mean you have a new goal? Because it was half and half, right?
Right. Well,
now it's more. You're going more than 50 now, right?
Well, it's kind of like it has to be a little bit more than 50 for it to be a integral part, right? So if it's 50-50, it's kind of like you're giving, not giving, and giving equal sort of importance. But if you give over half of your work away, then it's kind of the priority of your lifestyle. Yeah.
Now, on the website, in your description, it has you as business as medium, conditional systems for creative inquiry, new methods for writing, restriction in poetry and fiction. So here's another part of you, right?
Yeah. Now you're getting into the confusing part.
The confusing part, okay.
Yeah.
Explain, where is that connection?
Yeah, so you know, it's funny. I think a lot of designers face this, where we have a job where we're basically paid to be creative, right? But for a lot of us, we started getting into creativity just because we love doing it, and we never thought, oh my God, you could get paid for this. and you know, as that happens, you start to realize, hey, I need another creative outlet. How am I gonna, like, you know, if my work is this and my, you know, what's my outlet? And so for me, that outlet has always been drawing or poetry. And the thing that's always united those, and it's part of why there's so many dice on my desk, is this idea of conditional art, right? So that is art that's driven by a system. So I'll give you an example. This is a 20-sided die, right?
I've never seen one before.
You haven't?
No, I've never had.
It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. They have these.
Oh, really? Well, that's maybe why, because I never played that game.
I haven't either. I've just been obsessed with the dice. But let's say we line up 20 tubes of paint on the table, and I wanna pick a color to paint with. Roll this. Okay, it's color number 5. So this system dictates how I'm going to approach making something creative. And poetry is very much like that. So poetry, it's a haiku. Okay, it has to be 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. Those are rules, but then you can kind of inject this awesome creativity into it. And so that's always been something that's kind of been the connecting point between my artwork, my personal work, and Very Nice, actually, because if you think about it, give half is a conditional system.
That's true.
Right? It's a constraint that we thrive within. And so I've always seen constraints as kind of that thing that actually leads to my creativity and leads to, I think, a lot of designers' creativity, maybe without knowing it.
So, and just like a challenge would be.
Exactly, yeah.
So, in the process of doing all this, you know, do you see Very Nice as maybe being like a social movement in a way?
Yeah, I do, and that's always been the goal, is that Very Nice as a brand is almost a case study for this model for Give Half. And something that I realized a few years ago is that because of that, we really shouldn't be the only people doing this. We should be a business, but we should also be trying to encourage other businesses to start and essentially be competition for us, to start with the same model.
Yeah.
And in many ways, that's where the book comes in. The book, you know, How to Give Half Your Work Away for Free, it's really an open source kind of document that reveals our business model and how we approach this and how we make it happen. So it's kind of like, yeah, bring on the competition, because we want this to not be unique. You know, we want it to be a movement. That's the only way that we're going to actually help people.
And we are obviously at a point right now where there are serious social issues and environmental factors that require that we develop different models and different ways of doing things, even in business. What is your view of that, and how do you see Very Nice participating in that in a global sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think one way to answer that is really the people that are making impact or kind of facilitating impact are the nonprofits still. They really are a big player in kind of facilitating all of the impact in the world, whether that's in actually trying to make change or trying to drive awareness so that other people can make change. They're kind of this core piece of the puzzle, right? But the thing about nonprofits is that A, they don't have a model, they just pray for grants or donations, or B, they have a model and don't know it. And so in many ways what Very Nice is trying to do, and a lot of our work with the resource that we created, Models of Impact, is trying to show people all of these different models that are out there so that they can kind of claim one or just get a better sense of what they're actually doing. And to me, the only way we'll continue to actually solve all these social and environmental issues is if we're thinking beyond our lifespan. And only a model can do that, because a model is the thing that's saying, okay, when I die, this thing is still going to work. This thing is still going to go on because it's a system, right? Like the dice.
Like
it's
the
a
dice.
Conditional, it's a system that you have to work within. It's a constraint. And it's a legacy.
Now, Matthew, what are some websites where people can find more information about your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So Very Nice's website is verynice.co, where you can learn about how to get involved with us, how to join this movement, how to check out our work. Givehalf.co is my book, which of course is for free, like pretty much everything I do. And then modelsofimpact.co is a website where you can see all of the different business models that we've been researching in this space.
Cool. In closing, we really have to do this and have fun doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be drudgery, so we should always put that out there. Let's have fun while we help make the world a better place.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Matthew. This is Nice Wander with Matthew Manos.
Thank you.
On the NOWMAN Show. Thank you.
Cool.
Hello, this is Nice Wander, and I'm here with Matthew Manos, the founder and partner of verynice.co. Matthew, I have a question for you.
All right.
Okay. I think we need a new renaissance. What can we do together to help make the world a better place?
Interesting. I think we can do a lot together to make the world a better place. I think the immediate thing that we can do to make the world a better place is to teach reciprocity, to teach giving, but to reframe giving in the sense where it's not necessarily me giving you this dice, right, and me losing this dice. It's me giving this to you, but receiving something else, and so it's this thing that could move beyond sort of currency and gifts, but it's kind of this thing where, I don't know, maybe it's karma, right? But teaching the world that giving is not losing, I think is a way that we can make the world a better place and can affect all kinds of causes and issues.
A great way to think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you.
What is sustainability? Well, according to the NOWMAN manual, it's sustenance, maintenance, and consistency, which are very important when we activate the practical meanings of those words in our day-to-day lives. It makes sense to always desire and experience a high quality of life. A genuinely high quality of life is not based on materiality and greed, or in other words, the kind of behavior that traditionally encourages and causes imbalance in the distribution and access to, as well as the waste of valuable and available resources. We must and we will create a truly sustainable global way of life. Now.
Hi, my name is Erica Podest, and I'm a scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And next time I'm in Pasadena, I'll be checking out the NOWMAN show.
Bonjour, j'ai ici avec Philippe Carrillo.
Okay, that translation is, hello, this is Nice Wander, and I am here at the Green Fest with filmmaker Philippe Carrillo. Philippe, welcome to the NOWMAN show.
Thank you very much.
Now, just saw you do and talk about your film, which is called Inside the Garbage of the World, which is an award-winning film, by the way. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
And now, tell us about your film.
Well, the films emphasize, the plastic pollution disaster. And I say disaster because it is really a disaster. People think, oh, okay, it's a problem, but actually it's a disaster that is getting into, our daily lives right now, and people don't really know about it. Basically everybody have a plastic chemical in their body as we talk right now already, and they don't know about it. And all of that is coming from the plastic pollution.
Nature has a beautiful way of honoring information, vibration, and energy. For instance, the Earth, as this living organism, has a vibration. And bees and other pollinators attune to that vibration and actually use it to help them navigate while they're fulfilling their purpose of pollination. And so, through information, vibration, and energy, bees and other pollinators actually sustain life on this planet.
When we cannot marginalize the importance of any of that, and there's a connection, and making that connection not only to living things like that, but to each other, it's extraordinarily important. And it's something that we need to be acknowledging constantly and in the present moment, always, which is my mission as NOWMAN.
Vielen Dank, Dan, für das Interview, und ich hoffe wirklich, dass jeder hier in Los Angeles uns besuchen kann.
Thank you very kindly. I could tell that you were thanking me for doing the interview. My name is NOWMAN, but it's German Swiss, but I don't speak German, but I do speak le français un peu.
Oh, français.
Un peu.
Oh.
I need to polish it up. Très bien, yeah. This is Nice Wander, and I am with Karina Bassler, who is the president of Green Festivals, Inc. Karina, I have a question for you. I think we need a new renaissance. What can we do together to make the world a better place?
I believe everyone should have the heart at the right place. This is where inspiration starts, and this is always the best way to spread the message. I believe that every day nowadays, everyone can make a difference and should make a difference by making the right consumer and product decisions. Just go in a supermarket and decide what you want to put on your plate and spread the message.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Manos reporting for the NOWMAN show, and I'm here in front of the booth at the Have a Heart Ranch Animal Rescue Foundation and Sanctuary here at Greenfest LA 2015.
Hello, this is Nice Wander, and you're watching the NOWMAN show. I'm here at the Green Fest with filmmaker and engineer Antonio Salion. Thank you for being on the NOWMAN show.
I'm very happy to be here.
And now you were talking earlier about, in your talk that you just finished, about sustainability and basically the green economy in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Maybe you can explain in more detail what that exactly consists of, because most people wouldn't know.
Well, it's basically, if you take it this way, when people want to make their homes sustainable or a building sustainable, it's basically going green. You know, what does that mean? Saving energy, saving the environment. A lot of people, they don't realize the things that they're doing that's wasteful. Recycling, but recycling is not just plastic bottles. It goes further than that. It could be the clothes you're wearing, catering the food on the set. What happens to the leftover food at the end of the day? Are you donating it to the homeless? That's sustainable.
We're going to get asked the question.
Go. Hello, this is Nice Wander, and I'm here with Andrew Keegan. And I have a question for you, Andrew.
This sounds really important.
Yes, it is. I think we need a new renaissance. What can we do together to make the world a better place?
We're doing it. This is it. What we're doing here at the Green Festival, what we're doing at Full Circle is the renaissance. So I think we're in it, and I'm enjoying it. And thank you now, man.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate it.
That was easy.
The past is gone, the future is yet to come. It's now, right now. The present is here, the future is near, but it's right now. You know, being with you makes the party complete. So keep the body moving and show us your happy feet. At the end of the night, when all is said and done, I wanna know I did the right thing and had a lot of fun. And I say,
Hi, I'm Andrew Keegan, and when I'm in LA, I watch the NOWMAN show.